The Philippines is a Southeast Asian archipelago that sits in the western Pacific Ocean, surrounded by China, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Filipinos have seen their share of occupation, from Spanish conquistadors and the Japanese, to the U.S. military. Today, bustling high-tech cities are filled with traffic and congestion, but a trip to rural farmland areas, referred to by locals as provinces, the equivalent of the American South or countryside, illuminates the preserved local culture. Today, the Philippines remains a spiritual country, with ghosts and folklore firmly embedded in its history and passed down largely through oral tradition. For a Filipino child, it's not uncommon to hear about these various urban legends and ghostly tales from an older sibling or a wise elder, especially while visiting relatives in the provinces. Here are a few such ghostly legends from the Philippines. Number 1. Noona. This diminutive goblin lives on top of anthill mounds. He's depicted as an old man with a long beard who's easily angered by anyone who disturbs him or trespasses. Children are encouraged to be quiet near the Nuno and to warn the Nuno as they pass by, saying "Tabi tabi po, please let me pass by, sir." Naughty children who kick and destroy anthills, or worse, urinate on them, can be spit upon and cursed by a Nuno and experience stomach aches, black urine, swollen feet, or any number of ailments. Number 2. Duende. This folktale about mischievous elves has Latin American and Iberian roots. These small, sprite-like creatures have a more playful temperament than their Nuno counterpart. They live in people's houses and will present the homeowner with good or bad luck, depending on how they're treated. Duendes are said to exist in the countryside, living underground in mounds or up in the trees. They emerge at noon and in the evening hours. Parents tell their children to stay indoors at these times. It's common practice to also seek permission to pass and quietly mutter "Tabi tabi po" when outdoors. Number 3. Capri. These giant tree demons tower at 7 to 9 feet tall, are muscular and dark-skinned, and smoke cigars. They wear the traditional Filipino loincloth and a belt to keep it hidden from human sight. They dwell in large mango and banyan trees, playing pranks on passers-by, confusing and disorienting travelers in the wood. Others report hearing bellowing laughter and seeing smoke and large fiery eyes from the tops of trees. Those confused in their own home blame it on the Capri. Number 4. Aswang. They are monster-like vampire witches and they are the most feared among the Filipino mystical creatures. They also like to eat human flesh, especially fetuses and small children. Some usually take pleasure in sucking out infants from their mother's womb. They are shapeshifters and are not harmed by daylight, but they lose their powers during daytime. However, they gain it back at night because they say God is asleep at night. This is one good story to tell to those kids who like staying up at night. Number 5. Minand Gail. It is a monster in the form of a woman and a witch. It is said to feast on human flesh and suck their blood. It is the image of evil. At times it is described to have the ability to sever its upper body to grow out demonic wings. They fly at night looking for their next victim to satisfy their appetite for human blood. Number 6. Ghost of Minda. Minda was a student in University of San Carlos. The legend says she was raped by unidentified men during one night and was eventually murdered so she would keep her silence forever. Her body was buried within the campus. At nights she haunts the area, looking for vengeance on her attacker, a girl seeking for justice. Number 7. Monoktok. Doorknockers. These monoktoks are also known as knockers in Cebuano urban legend. They are described to be dressed in black. They lurk in the dark and come knocking in people's houses at night. They bring with them bad news. When they leave, it is said that your eldest son or your sickest relative will die. Do not open your door if you see dark-cloaked men or draw a cross at your door to keep them away. If someone knocks at your door in the middle of the night, do not dare open it or this creature will haunt you. Number 8. The Horror at the 13th Floor. Countless high-rise buildings dot the country today, but most of these towering concretes don't have a 13th floor. Why? Because people believe random scary things can happen on this unlucky floor. Apparently, this urban legend is not just popular in the Philippines but also in other countries. In fact, there are so many horror movies depicting this folktale, such as The Nightmare on the 13th Floor and The 13th Floor. Property investors in many parts of the country and around the world deliberately omit the 13th floor and jump to 14th so as not to compromise the marketability of the spaces there. Number 9. Singing My Way leads to a tragic end. Sometime around the first decade of Y2K, there were stories about how singing Frank Sinatra's My Way at the karaoke would end up tragically for anyone. The legend began circulating after reports of several men meeting their untimely death during or after belting the song. This may not actually be a complete urban legend because even the New York Times and local news recorded in the dozens of deaths related to the song, and dubbed it My Way killings. In May 2007, while in the middle of his rendition of the notorious song, a young man was shot dead by a guard who disliked the former's bad singing at a karaoke in San Mateo, Rizal. Many Pinoys remain cautious about picking songs at karaoke bars, avoiding My Way as much as possible, especially in public. Number 10. Alien abductions in Mount Bonnell. Mount Bonnell, the sacred mountain of the Philippines, has long been full of mysteries. According to some locals, hikers would go up the mountain never to return. These hikers, they would say, were abducted by aliens who land on top of the mountain with their spaceships or flying saucers. A popular version tells of campers, hikers spending the night at Mount Bonnell. One of them woke up and decided to sleep outside the tent in a sleeping bag. Afterwards, there was a blinding light. When the camper woke up the next morning, he or she was already on top of another mountain. The camper eventually reunited with the others, and claimed he or she can't remember what happened that night after her encounter with the blinding light. Number 11. The Romblon Triangle. If the North Atlantic has the so-called Bermuda Triangle, the Philippines also has what we call the Romblon Triangle, which is located in the Cebuan Sea with its three corners at Mindoro, Pana and Masbate in the province of Romblon. The Romblon Triangle covers a very small area, but due to the countless marine disasters there, people started talking about the Philippine version of the Devil's Triangle. Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard insists that the shipwrecks in the Romblon Triangle are due to bad weather and technical failure, and nothing mystical. Number 12. The Bloody Foundation of San Juanico Bridge. When Typhoon Yolanda, Haiyan, hit the country and almost erased vast areas in Leyte Tacloban, the over 40 years old San Juanico Bridge remained strong and steady. Impressive, right? What could be the secret to its strength? Legends say that the longevity and strength of the San Juanico Bridge, also called Marcos Bridge, adjoining the two islands, is due to the countless children sacrificed during its construction. Former First Lady Imelda Marcos allegedly had conspired the kidnapping of street kids or random babies from Leyte and Samar, and had offered them in a demonic ritual, mixing their blood with the concrete. At the time, Imelda headed the construction of the bridge, and reportedly performed the sacrifice upon the admonition of a fortune teller who said children's blood was needed for the project's completion. Bodies of the sacrificed children were then thrown down the bridge. So whenever there are haunting incidences in the bridge, people will remember the story about the unknown children sacrificed there for the San Juanico Bridge. Number 13. Impersonation of Bongbong Marcos. Bongbong Marcos, Unico of the late Philippine dictator, Ferdinand Marcos, as we know him today, is allegedly not the real one. Stories say that the real Bongbong was long dead and that the Marcoses only asked a look-alike cousin to undergo plastic surgery and take Bongbong's place. According to one version, the young Bongbong died while he had a fight with a classmate who allegedly stabbed him. In another version, the teenage Bongbong had a road accident in London that led to his fatal demise. Still another version says that he died in Mindanao after his abduction by rebels. Wanting to continue her husband's legacy, Imelda persuaded a relative to impersonate the supposedly late Bongbong. Number 14. Jose Rizal, father of Adolf Hitler. Sometime during Adolf Hitler was still in his mother's womb around August 1888, Philippine national hero Jose Rizal was in Europe. This led many to believe that the Nazi leader could have Filipino blood and could be Jose Rizal's son. Apart from this, Jose had been romantically close to a lot of women, Filipino and foreigner alike, and it was possible that Jose could have met Hitler's mother. Also, people say that the two historic men looked a lot like each other. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you on our next video. If you have suggestions, just drop on the comment section. Thank you.